Welcome back to Fighters Drinking Coffee. Today, we're going to, you guys have all noticed, you've had new people at the gym. New Year's have rolled around. You have new people coming in, doing the trials, trial classes, or some, week trials, month trial, whatever the program is at your gym. But you guys have noticed this. You've seen these people coming through, and, the people that weren't going to try it out, they kind of petered off after the trial period. And then some other people, they stick around, or maybe you haven't noticed, maybe you haven't, but you have these people do want to come and do jiu-jitsu with you, and they've decided to stick around and give this thing a shot. Most of the time they've signed some sort of at least 1-year contract, right? They're at least going to stick with it for a year, or at least pay for a year. So how do we welcome these people into our gym? How do we get them intertwined in the group, the community, right? The community that is the gym. And what do we do to have them stick with it? How do we get them to go beyond that initial contract too, right? That's really what it's about. It's not about making that quick buck. It's how do we get these people to stick with jiu-jitsu? Because, here at Fighters Drinking Coffee, that's what we want people to do. We want people to stick with jiu-jitsu. And
that's right.
On the flip side of that, how do you, the new person that just joined the gym, what do you need to do, or what are you looking for? What kind of stuff will help you? What kind of things will help you stick with jiu-jitsu? We've kind of touched on that when we did our white belt episode, and how to become better as a white belt. But this is a little bit deeper than that. This gets kind of more to, you're brand new, you're just starting jiu-jitsu, or you're just starting at a new gym, whatever. And what are steps you can take, things you can do to kind of take control and stick with jiu-jitsu, become a jiu-jitsu person, so that you can get your blue belt and slap BJJ after your Instagram handle, like we talked about a few weeks ago, right?
There you go.
So we've all been new once. We have been through this, Scott and I, at one point in our life. It was a while ago at this point, but we've done this. Those of you who are doing jiu-jitsu right now, you've been through at least some level of this, or you're starting jiu-jitsu for the first time and you're about to go through this. So
you kind of, by the way, Michael, you kind of went through it relatively recently, again, in a different sense, but I think it's the theme we're touching upon. It's like a community team kind of concept here. But you relatively recently, it's been more than a year, of course, but you went into a new community. You went into Battlefield. By the way, shout out to Michael, just got his brown belt.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, congrats. But Jason talked about it a little bit too. He's like, Mike came in, trained before, but joined our community. There's you went through that. I mean, granted, you knew what to expect, and you knew you were going to do it. And so you're obviously miles ahead of a white belt doing this, but you had to go in and kind of work your way in your new community, probably earn a little respect from certain people and show them that you're a good dude who's going to work hard, and you want to be a part of that, and kind of jump on the rowboat and start rowing.
Yeah.
Relatively recently, right? It was a year and a half, 2 years ago.
So yeah, when you
pop back into Battlefield.
It'll be 3 years now.
Has it been 3?
Yeah. I didn't even realize until.
Fuck, it's been 3, dude. Okay, cool.
Until at promotions is when I remembered oh shit, it's been 3 years.
That's awesome.
Because a few of us were talking about stuff afterwards.
Okay.
Built, and the timeline was kind of getting built. I'm like, holy shit, it's been 3 years. Definitely. And so it does transcend being brand new. And
there's a process to it, I suppose. And then whether you're white belt, it's going to have maybe there's more of a, or whatever. Yeah, we'll do white belt, but a brand new person to the sport has multiple layers of acceptance or commitment to wanting to do this long term versus you, who's no, I've done this long term before. I'm just doing it again.
Well, yes,
but then there's the different filter. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So before we'll lead off with as a person with experience and background in jiu-jitsu already, because it is a different experience. Especially when you come in as because I was a purple belt when I showed up there, like there's a different welcoming, right? Like it wasn't like aggressive or anything, but like there's definitely like when you come in brand new, the way that people test you is going to be different than when you come in as like a person who has,
Experience.
a colored piece of cloth around their waist, right? Like, because there's almost like, and actually, I don't mind it. Like, and this kind of comes up with like I think we talked about this on like the cross training episode. Like, there's going to be a level of target on you when you show up as like an experienced person at another gym. Because they kind of want to.
Well, they want to get to know you.
They want to get to know you.
There's like a vetting process.
They want to see like if you're legit. There's a level of like testing out if you're a good, like, oh, is this going to be a good training partner? Is he just going to be the guy who shows up and like tries to tear us all apart? And like there's different there's just different things that are tested out with that, right? Versus when you're brand new, people are, or at least the people at the gym that you're going to should be trying to welcome you in to try to get you to stay.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what we're going to talk about. Like that's one of the things we're going to talk about. But like, and that's not to say that that's not what happens when you come in it's just the experience of that is different because there's a different level of expectations when you have some degree of rank or experience when you arrive there. So, especially with like, I don't know, there's always that idea of like fake belts that people are worried about too. So, you kind of have to show up and you have to prove different things when you come in from a different gym to a new gym, I guess, versus, showing up and like we're going to talk about proving that you want to be a part of it, which is just the way you do it differently.
Right.
Or is different.
Yeah, I think it's valid. I think anytime, like maybe flipping it around from like the people who are in that kind of like already part of that community that you're walking into, when you're experienced, like you said, there's a different set of questions that they may have about this guy coming in. I think probably, and I'm sure you had this experience, but like either way, everyone's going to be really cool. But like, oh, great. Like, hell, you're purple. That's really awesome. Come on in, man. High five, knuckles, and you're going to do the first couple sparring rounds or whatever. They don't know what they're going to get from you. Like you said, to be honest with you, I'm sure it depends on the environment. Most places, most people, of course, again, like I said, it depends on the environment because there's different types of cultures and academies and stuff like that. But most people I don't think they really care if you're like, you got a purple belt, but you're not that good. Or you got a purple belt, but you're really like a black belt. I don't think people really mind that. I mean, they don't know, right? So, there's like this membrane that you kind of have to like push through, and whatever white belt, blue belt, or white belt, or some experience is probably the way to split these categories out. But either way, you're kind of like trying to crack your way into this community and be like, hey, well, like I'd like to. Well, in a lot of ways too, like it goes both ways. Like you're kind of figuring out for yourself if you want to be a part of that community. Community also is like, do we want this dude to be a part of this community? It makes good business sense if you're like running an academy to try to cultivate a welcoming, inviting environment for a person of about basically any background, to be able to do that. But once I said rowing the boats. That's a decent analogy. Once you kind of crack your way in there, and like if let's say you do have a good experience at this place and you're like, yeah, I want to continue training here, you want to like figure out the rhythm of the culture and kind of get the wavelength and the vibration of the people you're around to say, all right, dude, yeah, I'll row the boat with you guys as a white belt, as a purple belt, whatever. But there's that initial period of like kind of figuring that out. And so like we can kind of wrap on yours. Yours is, like I said, straightforward, maybe because it's easier for us to understand because we've been at this for so long and we've both been in environments where like a blue, purple, brown, or black belt will show up and you'll be like, all right, like, yeah, the good news is I think for anyone listening, like if you're the new guy, this is a 99% likely that everyone in the room actually wants things to be positive. Everyone's like, cool, man, this would be great to have another really good training partner. Like, let's see this dude. Let's see what he's all about. Personally, like I said, obviously it's really nice when someone's got awesome jiu-jitsu and they're coming in, if they're experienced, or even like awesome, just like if they have really good potential, it's a bonus. It's not a requirement. Doesn't really make a big deal to me, but it's always kind of a nice thing. Like, dude, this guy's really good, man. If he's also a cool guy and kind of gets the gym culture, wouldn't that be a huge blessing to have this person show up consistently and be part of our crew, right? I know that was kind of what Jason talked about with you in a really positive way. When he said about you is like, that's like, there's always like an unanswered, he's like, you don't know. I mean, his lens is obviously from like overseeing a large group of people. He's really overseeing a community and he wants to he's thinking like 15 steps ahead. He's like, like, I hope this guy is a really good fit for my academy. He's just going to be more protective of it than even the dudes in the room who are more like peers, if you will. But it's the right question to ask, which is like, we want this dude to be a long-term good fit to help kind of lift up the entirety of the student body. And the cool thing about white belt, blue belt, purple, brown, black, whatever, like any person who shows up, they get to do that in some capacity. So like, all right, flip it around to the white belt. Like if you're the white belt, I think the gym is probably going to be trying a little bit harder than you are early on. It depends on the person. Like some of those people really, they might come in and be like, this is really cool. Oh man, I want them to accept me so badly. Like I want to be like part of them. And, which is awesome. Cause like if that person, I feel like if a person has a good attitude and they're like, I really want to be a part of this community, the rest of it'll be easy. Cause what I was going to say in that scenario, I think generally, if you're the white belt, like the rest of the room their job should be to like try to make you feel comfortable and they should invite you to want to do that. Takes two to tango, but, cause even a white belt can do that. Like a white belt can come in with, with like a fresh perspective and, maybe no background. Cause like sometimes you'll get like you didn't get this, you were not this use case, but like, I've experienced this. Like, I'm sure Jason's experienced this. We just talked to Tim. Tim's probably experienced this. Like, the problem that people don't want is that they'll get dudes from other backgrounds who come in and they kind of bring hangups or weird cultural, I'll say negativity. Sometimes it's just differences. They'll bring something that doesn't quite mesh with the community and it can have like it can bring kind of like a potentially negative, impact to the community that someone in like a leadership position doesn't really want to see. So like you do keep in mind these sorts of things when you have like someone who's got mad experience from other communities, other cultures, like, hey, is this guy actually gonna link with our people? He's gonna come in here and he's gonna start asking questions about the coaches and be like, we did differently over here. We did a little bit better. Because sometimes you get that stuff and you don't really want like weird negativity. It's not a bad thing to have it's actually a really good thing to have a different perspective. It's just like, can this dude come in here respectfully and kind of like be part of our crew? Follow the order of operations, so to speak. But anyways, just tell me if I'm going off on a weird tangent here, man. But like with the white belts, it's sort of like they're a blank slate, man. So like you bring them in, they have a really cool, fun, excited, hard work attitude. Like that's what you want. So I think the burden in a lot of cases for that audience is it's on the community to say, hey, white belt of perhaps varying degrees of athletic backgrounds, someone's sedentary, someone's like a prior athlete or whatever. Either one of them, like you want to do a good job of like bringing them in and making them feel like, dude, there's a pathway forward for you to work hard with us, get better. And, we want to help you with that. And we know that in the long term, if you are getting better and you're having a good experience, it'll make them better too. So
yeah.
Does that make sense, man? It seems so obvious, but I think, like, and now how do people do that? That's kind of like, I suppose we can talk about that for the next chunk of time. But, cause it's a, weird new environment for a lot of people. And for white belts, like let's say a brand new white belt, not a white belt who's been around, who's already in the community. These new guys, maybe it's intimidating and they're like, crap, man, like these people all seem really tough and really cool. They're all buddies. I'm not really buddies with them. Yeah, they're nice to me, but like, no.
Yeah.
What do I do?
I think that a way to look at it is as the people that are already at the gym, there's two different questions that you're asking. So like if it's a brand new to jiu-jitsu person, the question that you're asking yourself about this person, or that you're asking the existent members about this person is, can we take this person and introduce them to jiu-jitsu the way that we're all enjoying it and the way that the community can we indoctrinate them into.
Yeah, that is the word.
Right. Like can we indoctrinate
It's a fun
them
one to say, especially we're not beating the cult allegations anytime soon,
no,
but it is
absolutely not.
indoctrination. Yeah.
But like,
That's a technical term for what's taking place.
Yeah, it sounds a little culty, but whatever. Jiu-Jitsu's, we've covered Jiu-Jitsu's a little culty.
Fuck it. You can cancel.
Yeah, but
you can never leave.
You can't leave. Only way out is in a body bag.
Yeah. Or give us all your money.
Or all of it. Yeah. But you're asking, can this person be brought into like our group? And can we like create them as a member and a representative of this group?
Mm-hmm.
When you come in as someone with experience, the question isn't can we turn them into a member of the group, is can this person represent this group? Right. Because like because you have to think of when that brand new person shows up and there's this guy who's shown up as a purple belt or a brown belt, like they're also new to your community, but they're going to be seen as a senior member and representative of your community, right? So like the standard is slightly different. Obviously it's the same standard, but you just have to know when you're looking at those things that like this person has to almost come in as a like example of our community, right? Like I think they have to fit in faster than the brand new person in terms of like how it appears. And it doesn't have to be a good or a bad thing. I just mean that like that's a different you have to just evaluate it slightly differently, because that's going to be the guy that is going to be teaching other people.
You're saying the expectation is a little different.
Slightly. It's not like a huge gap, but like that person is going to be potentially looked up to by newer people. So, you just have to have some sort of, they have to fit in fast. Yeah, that's you're testing something slightly different there because like you said, they do come, a person with experience does come with and not saying you have to scrutinize them. Like you don't have to like be extra on top of it do background checks and shit. But like, you just have to recognize that this person, that person does come with some amount of like prior knowledge, and with that comes baggage and whatever else.
Yeah, it could.
So like, and we offline talked somewhat about this, that like, and sometimes there's a reason that person's leaving the other place. And like, so, you have to be a little extra because there's sometimes other things, and that's all.
Yeah. Well, I think
I'm trying not to be like too like,
we don't want to scare people, man, but I know what you mean. No,
like just
you learn to read people. I think you have to read them. And I guess my response to that is, does kind of depend on the person. Like, look, I've known black belts who, let's use a black belt as like an extreme example of this. And I think the question you have to ask yourself is when this dude comes in, you're like, don't forget, like, what does he want? Like, what does this person, he or she want when they come in here too? Because, I think it's a fair assumption. And yes, it's sort of like, there's an example that this person puts forward, but like, does that dude want to be a coach? Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's like, yo, man, I coached already. I'm a black belt. I just want to train, man. I happen to also be a black belt. Like, people are going to ask me questions, happy to answer them. But like, dude, I'm not going to come in here and step on anyone's toes. I don't actually want to be a leader. Maybe that guy's like a leader in 50 other positions in his life. And he's like, dog, like, I'm good. This is kind of a break. I love jiu-jitsu. You ever need help? I'll help you. But like, it's your space. Like, cause like, I think that could be an example of like, yo, this is a person who like, you might expect this guy's going to come in here like, oh crap. Is he going to try to take over? Maybe he doesn't give a shit about all that, but that is the risk. The risk is that like, I get what you're getting at here. It's totally reasonable.
I guess what I'm saying is you're evaluating different aspects of that person than you might be like, or there's additional things you're evaluating about that person.
For sure. And that person, like, all I'm saying is it's like, I think, if we're going to approach it from this perspective, whoever's overseeing the squad, just that person has either hopefully done this or needs to just learn how to read people and observe people and kind of observe their actions, observe how other people interact with that person. Like, you get good at this stuff. It happens automatically. But yeah, to your point, like, I think that stuff kind of works itself out, especially just as long as the boss is just like, that dude's a problem. Get out of here. If you can do that, then this isn't an issue at all. And like, that's So that happens. But
for most of you listening,
this is beyond
that
stuff
is
you never
beyond.
have to worry about. You're not going to have to worry about
That's
this.
above your pay grade, probably,
it is,
right? Like,
but since we got on the tangent, yeah, you're right. This is not an issue for
you, the members of the community. It's less of a problem, right? Like,
talking about like community leaders, kind of like paying attention to like people who have senior belts who come through, and I'll also just, if I may, man, like sometimes like this has happened. This stuff has happened. If you have a strong enough community, let's say you got a community with like 5 or 6 black belts on the mat, like, okay, some purple belt comes in here and wants to puff his chest. Who cares?
Yeah.
You're a purple belt. No disrespect to purple belts, but it's also kind of like, look, I mean, you decide, like I said, you have to know the room. Like if you're an academy and then you're run by one brown belt, which happens, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like maybe that guy's a little bit concerned if a purple belt comes in here because that guy who's in charge, it's his gym, he runs it. He's looking at that purple belt and he's like, crap, I was just a purple belt. I'm only a brown belt. I hope that I'm not threatened by this person. Like you got to like also be like confident enough in your position to be like, this person doesn't threaten me, man. If they start getting crazy, like it's just get rid of them. Like you're purple belt, brown belt, doesn't matter. You're on the boss. If you're the boss of the mat, you're in the gym, like get rid of them, man. Because I'm making it sound like that's all I'm saying. But you know, if you come from an environment, you're like, man, like even with a black belt, like some black belt comes in here, I'm like, what do you? We got like 7 black belts, man. Like, well, I'm happy you're here, but like, this is another, like I said, like you'll learn about the person too. Like, I think it's an assumption, and it's an assumption that's quite often wrong, but it's a fair assumption. But by the time a dude gets to, I'd say purple belt, definitely brown and black belt, like there's like certain things that they've at least been exposed to. You don't know if they've learned that. Again, you don't know the individual till you know the individual, till you read them. But for the sake of conversation, I think these things are like firm assumptions / foundations at most places that just the entirety of jiu-jitsu does instill this or indoctrinate this into people. And you can tell me if you think I'm wrong. By purple belt for sure. I think people understand because like you don't get a purple belt unless you've been in the culture, you've been in the room, you've been training for several years. So like you've been exposed to like the martial arts world. And so you kind of learn how to behave. You kind of learn like, what do people expect of purple belts? Like, hopefully, it's like, hey man, it's really cool you're a purple belt. You're also just a purple belt. So like that would then mean like you would at least know how to like bow, show respect to people below you, people above you, shaking the hands of, the guys who are senior to you, like being cool to people who maybe outrank you, but you might be better than them, right? Like you can beat their ass on the mat, but like still like, are you cool enough? At least have you learned enough about the ego part of the sport to at least be like, this guy's a brown belt. He's been in this gym way longer than me. I may be like a 4-stripe purple and I can submit him, but like, whatever. He's still like here. I'm like, he's the guy about him. I show respect. It doesn't really like, you should be able to understand your way around like these little subtleties because that can happen. Like if you're a black belt, that's gonna happen. Like you're gonna have guys that you'll like promote and you'll raise from white all the way up to black belt who like will beat you one day. And like, they should still show you respect. And they should still have that like honor and like integrity of the martial art that like just like skills are one thing, like the community, the environment is another. I think people fail in this all the time. But like there's certain things that like if you're kind of raised with the right family, Michael, and that was kind of that's what Jason said about you. Jason was like, he said really cool things about like just like he knew you were like, dude, these guys came up in a good environment. That's why you quickly got these things. These are respect things. And I think for the most part, jiu-jitsu instills that in people. Yeah, there are lots of dum-dums out there who fuck this up, but most people, like I said, purple, definitely getting to brown, definitely getting to black belt. Like a black belt shows up at a new academy with a room full of other black belts. Most of the time, that dude's going to know. He's going to like be respectful. He might like, it's a cool thing too. Like if you're one of the black belts, like, do we got a new black belt? Maybe kind of nice to have an 8th black belt who's like nasty. I don't mind if he kicks my ass a little bit. That's actually badass. If he shows respect and like a smart, self-aware, seasoned guy, by purple, brown, black, they'll know how to do that, man.
And I think that's what I'm getting at is
I get what you're getting at, doggy.
It's good to vocalize it because maybe they don't.
Or maybe, hey, we started off this conversation about like the new white belts for 2026 who are coming in the new room and like the guys around him. Maybe this could just easily go to the purple and brown belts out there who are like, fuck, I'm uncomfortable in my new community. How do I fit in, dude? It could be for those guys too.
It's for everyone.
It is.
Jiu-jitsu is for everyone. But like, yeah, it's the expectation that like you should be, if you are one of these higher level belts going to a new gym, like you should be able to walk in, like there's a level of expectation that you can come in and respect the existing community and like you can't go into a new gym and immediately try to change the culture there, right? Like that's not your job as the new member. You need to be able to come in, respect what does exist, and then like as you assimilate into this group, like then you start getting like your vote and what that culture is, right?
They'll kind of invite you to do that.
Yeah, like that's something that comes with time. But like if you're coming in and the red flag there is like if someone new is coming in from their other gym and like they're just trying to change things about your gym right away.
Yeah, it's super weird.
Then that's kind of like, all right, like maybe this guy
it is a red flag.
Isn't necessarily a fit for this gym.
That's
or
right.
Like they come in and they're just trying to like thrash on your higher belts, and there's that like easing in process. So like if someone can't do that,
it is a red flag, like you said.
It throws up a red flag. But obviously, like, don't be overly jaded and like scrutinize every single new person that comes into your gym, and like, because that's and obviously there's situations where people have been burned time and time again by these, and like you become guarded, and that's hard. And like at some point you do have to be protective.
You gotta set boundaries.
You do have to be protective of what you built. So like there's a reason to do that, but like that's a fine line of like, all right, how welcoming or unwelcoming,
how guarded should we be?
Like where is that like that line for? And like whatever that gets into a different topic.
It does, but
we'll touch on another time.
If I just to kind of like just add a little seasoning to that, dude, I think number one, I think most gyms do this, and I think most gyms do it pretty well, especially if like the gym's been around for a while, or if the coaches have coached for a while. Like they can do this stuff pretty easily. They can manage it well. And for the newer student listeners who are hearing this, like you want these guys doing that. You want the dudes kind of who are like stewards of the community kind of be able to do this stuff because they're doing it for you. They're doing it for the entirety of the community. Like they just don't want someone coming in like to their house and then trying to like big dog and be like, nah, it's my show now, which is just silly. It's super immature if someone does that in general, which is crazy. But sometimes people do it. It's silly, but it works itself out.
If it's being done like when this is being done the right way, whoever is in charge, they're not doing it to protect themselves or their ego. They're doing it the way that it's being done is to protect the community and culture that all of the existing members are enjoying. That one guy isn't worth the however many people it is. Right?
I jokingly call like soup. Like you're making a stew. You got a whole thing, and every little ingredient you put in the stew should like make the stew better. If you put a fucking crazy ingredient, you accidentally drop a bar of soap in your stew, now the whole stew is fucked. Tastes like soap.
Yeah, you got to throw it all away.
You can throw it all away. Yeah, right. right. Yeah, dude, I think, no, you're right. I mean, it's meant to just, it's for the big picture. It's for the entirety of the community. The community's for everyone. Community should benefit any new person. So like that person comes in here, it's like, this stuff is these communities are carefully developed, right? They don't just happen by accident. It's why what we're talking about is it's pretty important. It's very important. It's really important to like usually a very small group of people, one person for sure. And so,
and kind of, I like your stew analogy because like
it's good. I've thought about it
to get out that bar of soap, you're going to take a few potatoes. You might accidentally get like you're fishing out all kinds of stuff trying to get that soap out of the stew. So like, which is, a pretty good analogy for what can happen in that scenario, but it's not a constant thing. So like, again, don't be overly jaded about it, but
it is,
but it does kind of lead into
let's be practical about it. Right? Let's be practical for people.
And it leads into like what we initially frame with like the brand new people coming in, because you as the people of your gym's community and culture, like you are the stewards of this culture and this community. It is essentially up to you to, again, indoctrinate them. But like, you're to kind of like show and be like a example of like, and you're trying to show them the pillars and like whatever else, like all of the things that you enjoy about the gym. That's what you're trying to instill in this person. And like, that's what you're selling, right? Mm-hmm. You're not necessarily they've already decided they want to do jiu-jitsu. They've walked in the door. Like, they're interested. You're not selling them jiu-jitsu.
Well, you kind of are.
You are, but
you're continuing to sell jiu-jitsu. You're right. They showed up with interest in it, and they're like, maybe I'll give this a try. There's probably a few of them who are like, no, I'm definitely doing it. I've been wanting to do it for 10 years. This is the year I'm not going back, right? But most people are like figuring out if they want to continue with jiu-jitsu, right? You're right. They spent money. They're like, yo, we're going to at least give this a go. So like
because this person signed up in this.
About.
Yeah, because we're these people have signed up.
There's a transaction. There's a commitment degree, but how much commitment? And that's kind of the spirit of what we're discussing here too. Is like, let's get these guys excited about sticking around.
Coach will take care of the selling them on jiu-jitsu part, and like you still, you're gonna hit them with those like secret Jedi magic moves. I'm loving the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, I can tell.
But we're gonna hit them with the, you'll show them those magic little jiu-jitsu moves that work.
These are the droids you're looking for.
This is not the armbar.
Yeah, that's right.
But like you'll hit them with those little things. You're like, oh shit, jiu-jitsu's crazy, and then that keeps them on the hook. But at the end of the day, like, and Tim kind of talked about this, like, you want that in a perfect world. There's groups of these people and like at the gym that like you talk to and you want to hang out with because like you have a few different things in common, or you have the shared struggle, and like you're all showing up and you're putting in the work every day or whatever. But like if someone's just showing up, if you're showing up, going through the motions, going home, or you're all doing that, like, then that's the culture that gets developed. And if that's what you want, cool, whatever, that's fine. But like you're in control of this when these new people show up, right? Like, you have the opportunity to invite this person into the community. And so, you want to try to get them involved. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to hang out every week or whatever, but like, if you have a group chat, get that person in the group chat, right? Like, it can be as simple as that. Like, if you and everyone else that's in that class text every day to each other in a group chat, like, don't be cliquey, try to include people in that, right? Like, or whatever, right? If people want to be involved, involve them.
Right.
And, so, there's aspects of this that like, all right, let's invite them in. And, plenty of gyms are great at this. Some gyms aren't as good at it, right? Like, some gyms just expect the jiu-jitsu to sell itself, I'm sure. I don't know. This isn't like calling out anybody because I don't really...
Yeah, some people do that.
I don't know I know the people that are like in our community, the people that we talk to are pretty cool. But, there's people that are like that like, there's that expectation that like, oh, we'll just do jiu-jitsu and then this person's either gonna do it or not do it. And like, yeah, but there's so many other levels to it that you can have, right? Like, and you don't have to like everybody. That's fine, right? You don't have to like every single person that comes through the door. But I don't know.
Well, dude, I think there's like the reality, it's not true for every gym, but it's I think true for a decent amount of them, which is that like, these guys will show up because they're interested in jiu-jitsu, but they'll stick around long term when they've got a crew, when they got like buddies, and like they feel like they're like getting a really positive lifestyle change in a new community of like-minded people they get to be around. And that's really what people like to stick around for. They really like that. This comes from good leadership, comes from good people at the top who like cultivate a community where people become friends. Man, it's really cool to see. I've seen people get real cliquey. I've seen there being like in groups and out groups in gyms, and like people who like put in an inner circle with certain folks, and then other people kind of feel left out and they literally see it and they're uncomfortable with it. I mean, you've just seen all these things. It's just kind of like groups of people. You put groups of people together, they do this stuff. But bottom line, the community aspect is super important wherever you go. And I was actually thinking about flipping it around now, because we talked about like the people who are kind of already in the group welcoming the new person. Let's put ourselves in the shoes of the new person for a second here.
Yeah.
You got me thinking about it a little bit. We were talking a little more from the perspective of like the ranked guys who are showing up. But what I was thinking about it then, I was kind of formulating my concept as we were discussing this. I think whether you're a white belt or you're a brown belt or whatever, like when you go into a new environment, I think the very first thing you should do is, just seems obvious, but maybe because I've traveled a lot, I've navigated through that. Going into starting communities, starting groups is something I've done lots of times, and I've gone to other crews, and like I've traveled to jiu-jitsu. I've traveled to places to jiu-jitsu for like long periods of time, for 2 to 5 weeks. So I've kind of like been on both sides of this tons of times, man. I think the first thing that seems logical to me, what I would recommend any brand new guy, whatever your rank is, kind of go in and like get a read of the room, man. And like, I mean, for me, this is my 9th year at black belt. I've been a black belt longer than most people have trained. So I've done this a lot of times as a black belt, and everything we talked about earlier, where it's like, you betcha people are looking at you. And so like, I think the first thing I try to do now as a black belt, and I think you should just do this as a white belt too. It's just like, kind of go in there and like, be nice to everyone. Like, we're going to do jiu-jitsu in a minute. We're all going to see each other's jiu-jitsu. It's not a big deal. Like, I may be really good in this room. I may not be that good in the other room. Like, no one really cares. Because at the end of the day, I'm going in so I can get better at my jiu-jitsu regardless. So it's like an opportunity. And if I walk into a place where I anticipate going more than one time, I'll think about this even more. Even if I'm just dropping into a place once, I'll still behave this way. The point I'm trying to get across here is like, when you go in first, just kind of go in and read the room. Be like, cool. If you be like, you're about to go into a space. It's different when I'm a black belt. I'm expecting to roll wherever I go. If you're a brand new white belt, you might not roll for a little bit. You may not roll hard, spar hard. So your body will be a little more protected. But as a black belt, you're like, I'm going in here and like, in a second, someone's going to be maybe holding on to my ankle and twisting it. And so, I mean, I can protect myself pretty damn well, but like, nonetheless, there's like this degree of like trust that we're kind of tossing out there to be like, yo, I hope you guys are cool and I'm going to be cool too. So what I'm saying, the call to action with this is like, go in and like, first, number one, just be really cool and respectful. And then like, you got to learn to read the room. You got to learn to like kind of like download the culture as you go into a place. And this is like, if you're a white belt, you should be doing this too. I have a trained eye for this because I've been doing this for so long. I've traveled quite a bit. Like I said, I've done this many, many, many times. So like I can vet that pretty well. And I'm also in a place where like, if I go into a place and I don't like it, I'll walk out. Like I can do that. I'm not worried about it. I don't really care what they're going to think. That hasn't happened to me, but if I've gone to a place and I'm like, this is fucked up, I'm out, man. I have no problem doing that. That's an extreme thing, but my way of saying like, I'm capable of filtering and discerning these things. As a black belt who's traveled a lot and gone to lots of different places, and everywhere I've gone to, I haven't had a lot of bad experiences, quite frankly. I have to really think hard about bad times. Times when that's gone bad. I can't think of anything. But going in there, it's like, go in, read the room, download the room. And if you're a white belt, like the cool thing is like, that's kind of all you need to do because you don't really know what to do. Just show up and be nice. There's a phase 2 to this, but
I think that reading the room point, that's super crucial because, right, like, especially if you're just dropping in, right, you're the outside aggressor, right? Like, you don't want to be that. So, like, that reading the room and, like, I don't know if you do this, but when I've dropped in, that first roll is, like, we're going to feel out what the deal and, like, what the pace is here. So, like, because when I travel for stuff, like, if we go to, like, a wedding or whatever, if I'm not in the wedding, if the schedule allows, like, I'll find a gym to drop into because, like, normally, especially if you have like a spouse or a partner or whatever that's in the wedding, like, you've got a whole day to kill, right? Like, you got to find something to do. So, you like go in and like, I'm at that first roll, like, you're gonna feel what the energy is, 100%. Right? Like, your job isn't to go in and prove
right away, yeah,
how good crazy you are, and like, I mean, that goes for the brand new person too. Like, you shouldn't be going into
if you're brand new and you're doing that, you're wild.
Do not go into that first
but I agree
roll,
with you.
like,
the fact that if that's on someone's mind as they're brand new, like, you're a wild man and you're listening to this, you are actually crazy.
Like, that happens though.
It does
right?
happen.
Like,
you're right.
How many?
It's not the norm,
How
but
many
it does
times
happen.
has there been that brand new white belt that you have to, like, have someone mat enforce?
It happens,
right? Like, it happens. It happens. It's
one of those things where it isn't frequent, but it's like, it's just so noticeable when it happens, like, you'll remember it. So it seems like it stands out.
Yeah, like, there's that guy that's like, dude, that guy's going like 150%. Like, this is crazy. Someone needs to take care of it. Someone needs to settle that down.
Yeah.
So, like, that that read the room thing, like that's especially if you have experience, which you should already know how to do that. But, like that is crucial because like otherwise you'll get mad, especially if you're have some rank to you, you will get mat enforced. The champion of the room will come after you. But like you also do have to understand, like as the outside person, that like there is also that chance that the reason that you have to feel it out is there's that chance they're coming for you, right?
True.
Like, so like you kind of have to know, because you don't want to be the one that starts that, because you're outnumbered here. Yeah. But that is very important. Because like I go into, when I drop into places, I kind of expect like people to go hard a little bit, but like I'm gonna feel you go hard before I also go hard, right? I'm not gonna give competition energy if you're not giving me competition energy. So like that's part of it. And like, I don't know, I kind of expect to get a little beat up if I'm dropping in somewhere, but that's not the point. But yeah, I mean, like that's that give and get, and the giving and getting of energy, like, and making sure that you're doing what is important for that room. Like you don't get to go into that person's gym and, oh, well, like, I don't do shrimps up and down the mat, so I'm not going to do shrimps. I'm not going to do you guys shrimp up and down the mat, but I'm not going to do it because I don't do that at my gym. You don't get to make that choice, right? Like you're going to do whatever the
instructor,
whatever is being said in front of you. That is your job. You're showing up. You're going to be respectful.
That's also just, it's such a reasonable thing to say, but I agree with you, man.
Yeah. Like,
you surprised people don't do that sometimes. It's true.
Yeah. Sometimes you'd be surprised about how
it's like being a guest in someone's house, man. It's like, Joe, just like, yeah.
If they take their shoes off in that house, you take your shoes off in the house, bro. You don't get to wear your shoes in that house.
Yeah. It's like being a guest in someone's house, man. Like behave the way they're asking you to behave. And you said it well when it comes to like visiting other gyms and like, yeah, you gotta see what that's going to look like. You gotta see that energy and then kind of like, like an experienced training room, like if you're the guy visiting, like they'll kind of indicate to you like, no, we can pick this up a little bit. Like it can be a really good experience. It usually is. Usually this stuff works out just totally normally, naturally in a really good way. We're like being super detail oriented about it, but like these things usually organically take place. Everything's really smooth.
Oh, it will always work itself. It always works itself out one way or another.
I mean, I guess last thing, like, okay, one more thing on the white belts. Like if you're the white belt and come in, like to your point, Mike, it's like, dude, just go in and do what the instructor tells you in your white belt. Do that. If you're new, there'll be some people around who might even kind of like helping you out a little bit too. If you're feeling super fish out of water, which is okay because you're a white belt, like they might be like, oh man, like, hey, when he says hip escape, just push your butt like that. Like they might give you some pointers. Listen to them, man. Just listen to everyone and kind of like just try to feel comfortable. Like they want you to be there. If for whatever reason you really think they don't want you to be there, that might be a problem. You ignore that instinct, but like that shouldn't be happening. And as time goes on, you do this enough times, like you'll crack through that membrane, and it might happen really quick too. Like where people are like, "Yo, dude, good to see you again, Billy. Right? It's your third week here, man. That's awesome, man. How you liking it? That's really good, dude. You've been going to these 2 classes. You should check out this other class that me and Mike go to. When me and Mike were white belts, after about a couple, 3 or 4 weeks, we actually thought makes perfect sense. Kind of transition into that one. Like you should do that. There'll be more people. You get a little more rolling, dude. Like you're about ready for that. Like you should be seeing some encouragement, hopefully from your peers. If you are a peer who's a little bit further down the road in the white belt, you kind of like give them, like throw some breadcrumbs at them, help them out a little bit. And at a certain point, like the invitation to be like part of like the crew will happen naturally, just if you want that. Some people just want to keep to themselves, man, going and train quiet, and like they might not make a gym buddy, but there might be a good training partner who's there on the mat for like a really long time. Well, and there's dudes out there like that. There are dudes out there like that.
Every gym needs that guy anyways, right?
Like, they're out there.
As long as they're showing up and training, it's
that's
good,
it.
Right? Like
you're a paying member. You just show up. You know your rights.
You don't have to do.
You don't have to do anything.
As long as you show up, you pay attention and you're respectful.
Dude,
honestly,
as far as I'm concerned, that's a good community member right there.
You're being great.
Yeah,
just don't do anything wild. But not beating the allegations on not beating the cult allegations, or like, if you're brand new, you're gonna listen to everybody.
Well, show up to the class for 50 minutes. It's a 60-minute class. Like, listen to the coach, man. Like, I mean, you don't know anything. You're a white belt. Like, so whatever this dude's telling you, it's more than you know. So like, you should listen. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
listen to the coach. The coach is coaching you for a reason. You have to listen to the coach when the class ends and you leave.
No,
you don't have to. You're not stuck in the cold.
When class is over, you do whatever you want.
If they ask for a tithe, that is weird.
Yeah, you do whatever you want.
You don't need to pay like 10% of your, income.
It could be 10. Your monthly dues might be 10%, depending on who you are.
True.
Depending on what you're making.
Yeah.
But another thing for the brand new guys walking in is don't get discouraged. Because and everyone goes through this when they're either starting out or just through the entirety of your jiu-jitsu career. There's gonna be times where you feel like you're learning everything and you're getting really good. And there's gonna be times where you feel like you're not learning anything and you can't nail a single move that you're getting taught in class. And like, this is just the ebbs and flows of just learning something, anything, right? Like, and especially a sport or a physical, like anything physical, especially like there's gonna be days where you just aren't quite, your mind and body just aren't quite clicking, and like you're gonna feel like you haven't learned anything, you're not getting better. We touched on this in a past episode that like, one, everybody else is attending these classes and learning stuff, so like there is kind of a scaling and it's a curve because you're all learning and getting better kind of roughly the same time, and you're all going to have your peaks and valleys at different times. Like there's going to be times where Timmy is skyrocketing because he found something that he really took to, but like whatever section that you guys are on that month or whatever's going on in the curriculum, it's not quite clicking for you. Maybe it's just not your thing, whatever. And so like Timmy's figuring it out and it's not quite your thing. So you feel like you're plateauing while everyone else, someone else is getting better. And it's easy to get discouraged if you get like into like negative self-talk about that and whatever. Like, oh man, I suck. I can't hit spider guard sweeps. Maybe spider guard's just not your thing yet, or it's not going to be your thing. That's fine, dude. Like, don't get discouraged. Keep showing up, keep doing jiu-jitsu, because you'll find something that's good, that's your thing, and then you're going to be doing that better than everybody else too. So, that's a little tip for sticking with it. But
listen to your body too if you're new, and if you've like been a competitive athlete in the past, it's might not be as much of an issue for you. But if you haven't been,
depending on how separated from it you are, I guess.
Well, it's just like if you're not dialed into your body, right? If you don't know like when you're really sore versus when like you might have partially injured something, like if you don't understand that, try to like listen to your body and then like ask your coaches. Actually, might be a good time to ask your peers again. Like if you're like a new dude, maybe he's out of shape, and just, this is your way to get back in shape, and like that's awesome. Do that, but like I've seen new people get so fired up about training. I think I probably talked about this on the show before, but it was like their dudes got so fired up. And they probably overtrained and just kind of put their body into a risky state and got injured. And then I've seen people fall off because that first injury came through and they maybe put themselves in a situation where they're just a little bit too fired up about training, and pushed through things or put themselves in situations they shouldn't have been. Think about the white belts who are cranking those straight ankle locks because they first, like, they're new and they're like, oh, I just want to get a submission so bad. I've been getting murked for like the last 5 months I've been a white belt, and this new thing, like, I think it can work for me. Like, just there are preventable situations. I've seen that lots of times. So it's like, just like pay attention. Just not getting injured is so important. Like, because danger's going to come. Like, you'll get banged up and it's not a big deal. And like, try to keep everyone's attitude managed when that inevitably does happen, and then like make the injury degree so low that it's a easy to overcome thing when it does happen. Because like I said, I've had guys who like they fell in love with the jiu-jitsu thing. They went like nutty with it, and like went from sedentary to like 5 or 6 days a week, which is awesome. But also like you might need to keep an eye on those dudes. And if you're doing that, like just kind of like just talk to your coaches.
There's a lot that can go wrong when you spike your training intensity that quickly.
Or even if you let's say you are you do have a competitive athletic background, but like if you went from playing any other sport where like people aren't recreationally trying to crank your limbs to all of a sudden doing this, like you've just 1,000,000% increased the likelihood of someone trying to attack your limbs. You went from 0 limb attacks in your life to like daily recreational limb attacks for fun, which is cool. So it's new to you. So you got to like learn how to like manage these risks. Like you will learn this. Like jiu-jitsu teaches you this. So like you don't need to do anything other than just show up to class, be very aware. But yeah, just, do your part to like try to prevent injuries. The more you train, the more likely it's going to happen in some capacity down the road. They're not a big deal. You'll get over them. It's like, I'm so casual with the injury thing.
You'll get hurt. It's fine. It happens.
I kind of want to say that.
It's kind of true, though.
It is true. Like, you're going to get hurt. It's not going to be a big deal. If you're smart about it, you'll always keep the getting hurt in quotes. Like I said, you got to keep it 4 or 5 or less. Well, ideally, the lower the better.
It's a
4 or
golf
5
score.
out of 10. Yeah.
It's a golf score. You're trying to keep it as low as possible.
That's right. It is. Because things are going to get banged up, man, and like deal with it.
Well, and knowing the difference between injured and hurt, and there's
we've talked about that.
Yeah, we here at Fighters Drinking Coffee are fans of not being injured for too long and too much, or figuring out how to work around it if you can. That's a disclaimer, I guess. But like, yeah, I mean that's a really good point, because like, burnout and like overtraining and burnout are two massive parts of the, like, two massive issues in this sport, and like big reasons that there's like just people drop out of training, and they do so much for so long, and then like the second they get reprieve, they're like, I could just like not go to jiu-jitsu anymore.
That's what we want to avoid.
And so we should definitely talk about burnout on a different episode. Yeah. We don't have time to get into the nitty gritty and the detail that it deserves. Because there's a lot of use cases involved with that too, of like, there's a lot of things that go wrong when you overtrain and like get into that, start edging into that burnout phase, and you just don't want to get there. It's not good for you.
And it's a conversation for another day.
Yeah,
it's a good conversation.
It's definitely a topic that we should dig into on a different episode, but we don't have time to do that on this episode. But
we'll dig another time.
Yeah, we'll put the shovel next to where that dig site's going to be.
There you go.
But yeah, like, I guess to kind of try to put a little bit of a bow on it, right? We've got, but two different sides of this. You have the guys that are coming in, you have the guys that are already at the gym, and we want more training partners. We just, as your culture and like the way that jiu-jitsu develops, right? Like, more new people is just good for a training room, outside of just good for business, because obviously more people is good for business. But as far as like having training partners in a community, and like, you have to keep filling in these, again, just, we're never going to beat these cult allegations, dude. You got to keep filling in the bottom of that pyramid, bro. But like, more new people is good, because more people creates more room for development for everybody, because now everybody has the opportunity to kind of pass knowledge, like their knowledge down in some way, shape, or form, or like they get to build the community because they get to take that, like, that big brother experience that they had, or big sister, whatever. I'm a guy, so I talk from my point of view. You have that guy that takes you under your wing, and so now you get the opportunity to do that, and like that's the kind of thing that starts building that community. You all start, and you have new people, they get together, they kind of get their battle buddy at the gym, and like, just having that constant like regrowth is just good. So being able to build that from the inside is a good thing. And as a new guy, figuring out how to stick with this sport, ultimately, at the end of the day, no matter how hard it is getting started, you'll be happy that you did it, because you're going to have this group of people that you're sharing this struggle with. You're all getting better and like battling on the mats. You're having a good time. You might get into competition. And even if you're just doing it as a fun thing to do, like, there's all kinds of really great experiences that are waiting for you if you just stick with it. And then for the guys that are already there, like, you get to share, you have this awesome opportunity with all these new people to share everything that you've been enjoying with jiu-jitsu. Your wife probably doesn't care about your jiu-jitsu. You don't get to nerd out about jiu-jitsu to her. She's like, yeah, cool, whatever. What about paying bills and all this other important shit we have to do? So you get these guys that are actually interested in this thing that you've become passionate about, and you get to tell them about it and like be excited about this shit to somebody that thinks it's cool. Because like there's a, like we've talked about, like
It's cool.
but only like the people that think it's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's also fucking weird.
Totally.
So, you know, like this is an opportunity for both of you. Like, one, you get this opportunity of this new friend, or at least within the hour to hour and a half a day that you see them on the mats, which is more than you probably see other people, honestly.
Sure.
You know, like there's a lot of cool opportunities for both of you. So, enjoy it, guys.
Well said.
So, I was Fighters Drinking Coffee, guys.
That's right, it was.
That's our that's kind of our 2 cents. It was a little more than 2 cents.
It's like 50 cents. Help out the new people.
That was our we're rubbing quarters together as inflation, guys. We need more than nickels to rub together. So, you know, help those guys out. It'll be good for both of you. And as always, you got to hit the 5-star reviews, comment, jump in that Discord, actually. So this is like a prequel to something that we'll talk about on a future one. We had a listener question that we weren't quite ready to broach completely. So this is a lead in for that. This is it was a hybrid of both questions, but this is we're building up some stuff here, I guess. So we have some more similar things coming down the pipe. This year's been kind of interesting with all of that. We've got like we've got like a story arc going with between like resolutions, and then we have some other stuff thrown in the middle there. But you know, we went through like resolutions and year-end reviews, and then like, oh, there's new people at the gym and some other cool like conspiracy.
We're on a journey together.
Yeah, we got conspiracy shit in the middle, and
Star Wars,
Jedis
and Siths.
You know, Mikey Musumeci's Darth Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, something or other.
All kinds of crazy shit. So, you know, this is going to be a fun year.
It is.
That doesn't really fit in with what I was it does, but it wasn't.
It'll make sense later.
It wasn't part of my, we're scheming and building shit up, guys. And there's some cool stuff coming down the line. As always, I tell you that every episode. It will happen. You'll have cool shit. It's all cool. Just like jiu-jitsu.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, guys, like, follow, subscribe. We talked about it on an earlier episode with Tim. Cool stuff will be coming down the line. Cool stuff coming down the pipe. We'll have some bonus shit for you guys. But for that to happen, like, follow, subscribe, 5 stars, comments, reviews, all of that shit. Drop in the Discord. Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Give us your money. Bye.